Welcome to the Ink Panel's Graphic Novel Book Club. I almost said the other show name because I've been doing it more often. I am Dan. I am the host. We have Elias Gambit Melendez back, returning with his pick.
Finally.
And we also have Jennifer Jenning Comics from the Comic Lounge. You've seen way more of us than Gambit lately, like way more than probably ever needed.
You probably got sick of us by this point.
Thank you, everybody who tuned into the random show yesterday. We actually had good interaction in the chat again and pretty good viewing and time watched. So thank you, everybody. Well, no one's tuned in right now, so who gives a fuck?
Well, when they see the repetition.
So Gambit's pick was Irredeemable, our first Boom Studios book. Probably not our last.
Here's me holding up like my fake digital version of it because I downloaded it on my phone.
I have my digital on my iPad right now. Making sure from the top now, I'm going to introduce everybody who worked on the book. Created and written by Mark Waid, illustrated by Peter Krause, colors by Andrew Dalhouse, and lettered by Ed Dukeshire. So after the last couple, I kept saying I was going to get better about this. So
yes, that's actually very, very, very nice. I should get into that too.
Also, they mentioned at the bottom the character design was by Paul Azaceta, who works on Outcast with
Hickman.
Kirkman.
Kirkman.
Yeah.
So it was nice that they actually shouted out the character design creator in this as well.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
So, Gambit, since this is your pick, why don't you start the discussion on this?
Well, all right, where do I start? So it was recommended by someone at the local store, the mall where we go to, and it wasn't something that I wasn't looking for. Mike told me, "Hey man, I've heard good things about this book. I'm gonna order a copy. Do you want one?" I said, "Sure." Put it in my folder. So it's been there. It was there for a while, and I got it and I picked it up, and it's been in my reading pile since forever. So we just wanted to have the time to do it, and I like when he told me. I asked him, "What is it about?" He said, "Well, it's a superhero gone bad." And I said, "Well, we've seen that a couple times already, you know." And like I said, I was lately kind of tired of reading superhero stuff, right? So this is a great opportunity. And he said, "So it's by Mark Waid." And I said, "Okay, I'll buy. I'll get it. You know, get me a copy." And I've been wanting to read it for a while, but since I was bummed out about superhero books lately, I said, I'll check it.
We have a fan.
Okay, I'll look at that. Yes, I mean, I know I'm going to read Incorruptible, but I don't know if we're going to discuss it at some point. I think we should, like, a follow up to this one. Anyway, so back to this book. The first thing that got to me was how similar to Superman this character is. And immediately after reading just a few pages, I said, "Okay, I know what happened here." Mark Waid went to DC Comics, is what we were talking about a minute ago. Mark Waid went to DC Comics and said, "Hey, I have this idea, and let's turn Superman bad. It's gonna be like an Elseworld." I mean, he probably said, "No, let's do it in continuity," and that's why they said no. You know,
I 100% thought that. I was like, and they're like, "No, you don't do these books. Mark Miller does, but you don't."
But I feel like he said, "Okay, I don't, check this out," and he did it. He did a good job. I really enjoyed the book. I liked. I'm getting ahead of myself right now, because the ending of the issue 8 was like, whoa! I wasn't expecting that the ending to be that way. But anyway, not there yet. So I feel like he was, so you guys think I can't write this type of stories? Check me out. And he did this book, and he did a good job. And I would like, I didn't do the research. I should have, but I would like to know if the reason he decided to work with this with Peter Krause it's because his work kind of looks a little bit like Dan Jurgens. It not that it looks like Dan Jurgens. It reminds me of Dan Jurgens' Superman back in the 90s. You know,
So
it has that very specific style.
When I read it, I immediately thought of like 90s Superman Justice League where the Doomsday stuff was starting. It really reminded me of even the muted coloring.
Yes.
Where the coloring didn't pop, but it got that vibe of that feel.
Yes, I did enjoy this book a lot. Like I enjoy it more than honestly, I enjoy it more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. And one of the things that made me enjoy it was that Dan Jurgens feel. It has that Superman feel, that very classic superhero look to it, but it got dark really fast, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just that it wasn't what I expected. It was a little bit more than what I was expecting. And this panel specifically was the one that I said okay, so this is okay, I know what happened here. When I got to that panel, which is like page 5 or 6, when I got to that panel, I said, okay, I know what happened here. He went to DC and DC said no, and he said, all right, I'll show you, which is the way to do it.
So I actually I did like just a pinch of research, and by a pinch of research I mean like I went to Wikipedia and that was about it. But
I did more than me.
I looked up a little bit about it, and one thing that it got a similarity to, which it was because thinking about like superheroes gone bad and this like complexity about superheroes. It was actually so Alan Moore went to DC before his falling out, and basically,
which time?
Yeah.
One of them.
I think this was just like when he either like after he was doing Swamp Thing. So anyways, he went to them and kind of like pitched something like this, and it didn't get done. And there's this like lost work known as Twilight of the Superheroes, and that it never got done. It got leaked online-ish, but we don't know if like that was real or not. So apparently like Alan Moore kind of pitched something similar to DC. It didn't get done, and I don't know if that's one of the things that, you know, there was a falling out, one of the many. But yeah, that's one thing that I read that I thought it was really cool, because I know how much we all love Alan Moore here.
This is actually super interesting. I didn't know about that. But I'm if it's true, I'm surprised that DC didn't let him do that, because if anyone could pull this off, would have been Alan Moore. You know, I would have loved to read this take on Superman by Alan Moore.
Yeah,
Alan Moore slowly becoming an every episode discussion.
I mean,
which he should be. Maybe. So here's the thing, because if Alan Moore can see the future, maybe he went back into the past or into the future when he did it, and he went and made sure that we would talk about him every episode. So we just don't know it yet.
I don't know if you watched any of our last episodes, but Jennifer had started reading Planetary, and Alan Moore does a foreword at the beginning of it, and basically discusses the falling apart of the industry 20 years ago.
20 years ago, in 1999, talks about like, you know, the comic book industry is changing, and you know, we're gonna make it through with the comic book industry. It's beautiful. So maybe I'll take a picture of it and send it to you so you can read it. But man, it was great.
Well, right after that, she's like, Gambit's right. He is immortal. He is.
I'm telling you.
He can see into the future.
Yeah. He's immortal. He's been here walking the earth since before. Oh my God, I know who he is. He's Kane. He's Kane. You know that when he killed his brother, he was marked by God, and death wouldn't touch him. And I'll tell you why I'm going with this right now. Hear me out. So when he killed his brother, he was marked, so death couldn't. So he basically can die. So he's supposed to be roaming around. So that's him, and that's why that's why From Hell is so good, because he was in London at the time. I don't think that he was the
Jack the Ripper.
the Jack the Ripper killer, but I'm sure that he knew who the guy was, and he was like, "These stupid people, dude. It's like it's him. It's like right in your faces. What the hell, guys?" So he decided to wait a few years for him, and decided to write from hell to let people know, and still people were like, "Oh, this is a great work of fiction," and the companion and his all the evidence that he had to make the book, it's as big as the book. It's like it's evidence. It's him telling
It's
you this is
all of
it.
the puzzles are the pieces of the puzzle are fitting together. So
Man, that book
Alan
was so
Moore, we're
good.
on to you. We're on to you, Alan Moore.
Yes, he's actually Kane.
Jennifer-
So the
Jennifer-
reason I mentioned Kane, and it occurred to me right now, is because I just read the other day the Goddamn by Jason Aaron.
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah.
oh man, have you read that thing? It's really, really,
Mm-mm.
really. Oh my god, it's really good. But anyways, we are getting sidetracked. We're here to talk about Irredeemable. What did you think about it, Dan?
Okay, the first 3 pages right away, I was like, "Holy shit! This reminds me of Brightburn."
Ooh, I didn't
my-
even think of Brightburn.
Immediately when he's running with the kids and he's just outside the window, and all of a sudden the eyes turn on, I was like, "Holy shit! That's creepy." It's just like that fucking kid when he's at that girl's window.
Oh my god. That's
And
it.
this
I'm
might-
leaving.
Yeah.
This might be Mark Waid's answer to Man of Steel.
Mm.
So I thought the same thing. You know that he did. It's Birthright. I think it's the name.
Yes,
It's
that he did
Birthright.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that Irredeemable is it's like his Birthright is the beginning. You know, like this is the birth of a hero, and this is basically the fall of this basically this god that walks among men. You know.
Well, the thing
And
that
that-
also got me when he's listening to all the people crying for help, and he's like, "These ants, I do everything, and they don't appreciate me." And I like that where that would be Superman's day, where all he's hearing is these cries for help.
So yeah, I think I don't know if it was in Superman Returns or if it was one of the many Superman books that
Superman
I read.
Returns. It was when
In
he goes
Superman
up into
Returns-
the air and he listens to all.
He's listening to everything, and at the same, I think they mentioned that in another book or something, and he said that he learns to tune it out, you know, or was it this book? Now I'm confused. Doesn't matter. The point is that yeah, I feel like if you are someone who is able to hear everyone and everything at the same time all day, where do you go to
moon.
get some quiet, you know, to
Moon.
get some quiet? Yes, when he goes, he gets overwhelmed and he just shoots off into space, and he goes and just for a minute of peace and quiet, he goes and sit at the moon. You know how many times I wish I could do that? Just okay, I need a minute. I'm especially these days where you're so bombarded and with images and sounds and videos everywhere. You stop watching the screen to look at another screen.
And I
So-
think we only hear like people filtered what they say. Like we can't even hear their internal thoughts. We only
Yeah.
hear what they're willing to put out. And I still just want to get away from what the hell people
Right?
are saying.
And
So
like,
I kind of identify with that. Yes, Dan.
the part that I really got, I liked that Waid did that in this modern day with the internet and everything else. If Superman came up to you and was like, "Hey Lois, I'm really in love with you. and she's like, "You're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
I'm telling everybody."
I think that her reaction to him coming out to her and telling her who he really was pretty honest, you know. I think that her reaction to him coming out and saying, "Hey, I am the most powerful being in the universe, and I've been disguising as a mild-mannered sound engineer in the station that you work for," you know. And she freaks out, it's like, "You fucking creeper, man! What the fuck?" You know. I think that's a very honest reaction, even if later she backtracks and says, "Hey, listen, it just freaked out for a second. My bad," you know. But
Well,
I
she
think
runs into the studio and they're like, "Oh, we're broadcasting this now," and he's like, "God damn it!" and flies up and knocks the satellite out.
That
Like,
was
how many
pretty cool.
seconds does it take for me to
Yes.
like get there? That was really cool.
So imagine that how fast that dude is, that he got to that satellite before the signal got to the satellite, and we get that almost instantly. So I think that was I think the way he displayed his powers was very the way Mark Waid, you know, described how his powers work, or how fast and how powerful he is, without saying, "Hey, this is just another Superman dude," was pretty cool, because although it does have that obvious Superman uh, similarities, it did not feel like I was reading a Superman book. You know what I
Not at
mean?
all.
You know, and he turned super fast. Like, he went from here I come to save the day to
I blew up the city.
fuck
0 to
humanity
100.
in as fast as it took him to go to that satellite.
It's weird because at a certain point, I stopped thinking of him as Superman, and I started thinking him more of. I'm gonna say the name. I'm not even gonna say it. Extreme Studios, the Supreme book.
Yes.
Where he kind of felt more like Supreme than Superman. Where when Supreme first came, like he ripped apart Bloodstrike.
So I've never read Supreme. I was never interested in Supreme.
Alan Moore did a good run on it.
Yes, I know, and that was the only reason I wanted to read it, but it still wasn't enough for me to pick up that book and read it.
When I first started reading, or when you first mentioned Irredeemable, like over a month ago, I was like, okay, I have perpetually been like superhero fatigue. Like, I feel like I've read every single superhero, like every single superhero story, every single superhero goes bad story. Like, I feel like I've read them all. But then when I cracked open Irredeemable, it was really cool to just see a superhero, like literally within the first couple of pages, we immediately see him go bad.
Yes.
The Plutonian, like we immediately see him go bad. It's not like Mark Waid takes 10 issues to establish what a good guy he is, just to establish what a bad guy he is.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times when people write stories, they want to write stories that make us relate to the villain, which I appreciate, because like I love Magneto for that reason, is that I love like villains that you like, and I like Magneto. But in
Sound like my friend Sid.
Like I just never really liked Plutonian this entire time. There's maybe one moment where I liked Plutonian, or the Plutonian Tony, as they call him. Where he's in the like secret laboratory type thing, and he uses his vision to heat up coffee. I'm like, I relate to that. That was probably the one relatable moment to it. I'm like, if I could do that with my coffee or tea that I've just like left sitting there, I would do that in a heartbeat. So that was like the one relatable moment that I had. So anyways, like I went into it thinking like, okay, here's another superhero story. And then from the get-go, from the jump, like I just liked how at least me personally, like I just didn't like Plutonian at all.
Well, they gave you no connection about him because he's immediately from the first page. It almost starts out like, well, actually, Gen 13 did, where they're trying to run with the kids and they're getting gunned down, but it's just the superhero killing them or falling one. I do like the way they go and do flashbacks to show his fall when they're trying to figure out what made him.
Yes.
And it's just basically a put upon hero who feels like he's not being appreciated enough. And when he has that discussion with Sam Sarah, where he's like, Tony, did you kill all those people? And he's like, no. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm going to have to use my laser vision on the back of your head now.
Yeah. And even like one of the other moments that stuck out to me, I think it's in issue like 4 or 5, whenever he goes to wherever the UN is, and they're all basically like clamoring for him, and they're like, no, we'll make you a citizen here, no, we'll make you king here. And then he goes to Singapore and he's like, oh, how badly do you want me to be here, and just fucking obliterates an entire country. Like, I feel like I got it made me think of Thanos, like just doing a snap and just killing everyone.
So, although I can see why it immediately made you think of Thanos. I don't feel like it has the same
No.
I don't have the same emotional connection. I can't connect with Thanos at all. Like
Yeah.
there's because the reason the reason for that is because he's basically he's so powerful, he's so big in the sense of how cosmic he is, that I just can't relate with that character.
Like
You know,
Darkseid.
it's like Darkseid. I can't relate with Darkseid. I can't for me it's really difficult to relate to characters that are so powerful, so the reason I can connect with a character like Superman, although he's basically the same thing, it's because of Clark Kent. There's a there's a this I think it's in Kill Bill 2
Yes.
that he's talking about
He's always
Superman. Yeah, like he's like he pretends to be Clark Kent, but he's always Superman. I feel like that's not the case. I feel like in the case of Superman, he's Clark Kent. He just happened to be this uber powerful being, But I feel like Clark is Clark, no matter what. He doesn't he. So the reason I have a million thoughts in my head at the same time. So
Let
the
them all
reason
out.
the reason I buy that Clark Kent is Superman, it's because it feels natural, and I feel like for him that awkwardness, although he's act out because he has to pretend that he's fumbly and stumbles with things and not break someone's hand when they stumble with him or whatever. I feel that for him that's his natural state, and he just happens to be Superman.
So, but one of those things you're just talking about, it's mainly because of how Clark was raised, where they had the comparison with Red Son, where he's raised in Russia and he becomes a monster. One of the things in Man of Steel I really love was that part where his powers start developing, and Diane Lane comes in. He's in the closet and he's trying to and she's like, just filter it all out, just quiet everything down. I don't know why that scene was like one of the few things in that movie that really worked for me.
It's very relatable. It's very relatable, especially if you have kids, or if you've been surrounded by kids at some point, that especially if you've been surrounded by a kid that has like, for example, has autism, that you have to sit down and you have to talk to them and talk to them through the process in order to calm, and even with my kid, many times I had to sit down with him and just level with him. Okay, look at me, let's talk, this is what's happening, breathe, talk, because we've all been there. Granted, we weren't looking at our teachers' insides, but we've been that overwhelmed at some point, so we can relate to that.
Are we okay with a superhero villain with a kink?
Of course. So
that was exactly what I was going to mention next.
What I was thinking the entire time reading it, I kept thinking of The Boys.
Yes.
So I haven't read The Boys, the comic book. I've only watched the TV show, and I've heard that the book is a little bit more extreme than the show, which I'm okay with, extreme, but there's some aspects of the book that I know that they take it to places that I personally don't want to read, so maybe I'll just watch the show. But the entire time I was reading this, I'm like, I want to go and watch The Boys again. Speaking of superheroes with kinks,
Garth Ennis will go there with things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Garth Ennis,
Yeah.
Just take it, dial it up another notch. It's it's on 11, then take it to 12.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite thing with him was in Preacher when he had Odin. I can't remember his name. He had the meat processing place, the slaughterhouse, and he had the meat doll that he was having sex with.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
forgotten
yeah.
about that until now. So thank you
Yeah,
for
well,
that.
You're welcome.
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. This this page is that page when he basically wipes out uh the whole country out of the map. You know,
Mm-hmm.
God damn it! There you go.
Yeah, it's flat Earth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just you know how for me that page was pretty. I don't know. It felt darker than it should. I guess. Well, it's pretty fucking dark. You
Well,
know.
it's the God picture where he's just hovering over
Yes.
his
You
wig.
Is
know,
that
and
whenever he wipes out Singapore? Is
yes,
that when?
that's when Singapore disappears.
And to me, like when what makes that even more evil is that they're trying to like rescue people, and he's like, "You can save 10 people.
10
Choose
people.
them
That's
right
it.
now. Choose them." And I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like if you were in that position, how would you do that? And that to me illustrates what an evil.
He's more evil than
character.
Thanos. Thanos is like half your people die.
Yeah.
I will take
Yeah.
exactly half.
I'm just gonna take half of it. You know that and that's I think that's why I can't connect with that character. Like even if he didn't have the gauntlet, he's still powerful enough to accomplish that at some point. It would have taken way longer, but he's still powerful enough to accomplish it on his own. So being that cold and that just that's it. You know, I just can't. But with this dude, although I can't connect with him that much because they didn't give us too much to connect with him, and I think that's on purpose. I think that you have. I mean, I might be mistaken, but I am assuming that Mark Waid knew that the person that was going to read this book is familiar enough with Superman to understand that you don't need certain backgrounds because it's kind of obvious of what it is, you know. He still gives you something because there's always that new reader that doesn't, you know, that's not familiar with Superman. But let's be honest, at this day and age, if you're not familiar with Superman, I mean, where have you been your whole life, you know?
Yeah, because even if you're not like reading or watching Superman,
You
and
know who he is, yeah.
you've seen enough things that are inspired by Superman to at least
To
know
know.
like a Superman trope. So even if you're
Yes.
not calling the character Superman, like you've seen like all the other superheroes that come from
So-
another planet and all of that.
You're going into one of my big pet peeves with the movies. Everybody
Mhm.
knows the origin of Batman. They know the origin of Superman. They know Spider-Man. You don't need to show this shit anymore. You
No.
really
Right? I feel the same thing. I feel like we don't need to see another Ben Parker dying.
I don't need to
My-
see the pearls dropping anymore from
Yeah.
My only thing is, so one of my points of contention with the Marvel movies and specifically with Thanos is that he has a much different like kind of origin and motivation for why he's doing everything that they're doing, and the
I
fact
thought
that
it was better than him not being in love with death. I thought that was
I wish that they had done that. I
Really?
wish that they 100%. I wish that they, because I got into an argument with someone and they were like, well, because I was like, why would you put Red Skull in there for that? And like, I kind of get it, but I'm like, they were like, well, why would they introduce death? That's a confusing character. And I'm like, no, that's why he's doing everything is to impress her. Like, come on, guys. Have you done some dumb shit to impress a lady? It's relatable. Like, we've all done some dumb shit to impress a lady before. Like,
you know now that you mention it yeah I can see how that would be a little bit more relatable and but I
and I'm
I
not
don't
saying
know.
that, and I get your point, like that you don't necessarily relate to Thanos, and like I don't relate to Plutonian or anything like that. And I think that to me that's good writing, because then I think we get into the point of we want to write something, or that we want to be able to relate to the villain, but then there could be people who come out and are like, okay, let's make a story where we reveal Adolf Hitler and his origin story, and let's all relate to Adolf Hitler. Like I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be like a Nazi apologist or anything like that. So sometimes when we do like villain origin stories, they can be relatable in a specific way that's not like harmful.
Yeah. No, I get it, and I agree with you. I feel like in the case of Thanos, making him doing all this for basically for to impress a chick. Although that's how that's that's how it is. That Thanos Rising book was so good, so
Yes,
good.
it was. Oh
And
my god, it was good.
right, right. Anyway, so but I feel like
Pick that up, Jennifer.
it feels like with how big and how grandiose these things is. I don't know if that's the correct word, but how big this thing is to do this just to impress a woman. Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah. I can see it happening.
I'm gonna take us off the path for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's time to derail. This has nothing to do with Rob Pattinson jerking off angrily. So the New Gods movie, like,
Sorry.
how, like, we're talking about Thanos, Darkseid. How the hell is that going to equate out for audiences? Because it's almost the same thing, except he's in love with finding the anti-life equation. It's close enough to death.
I really hope that if we do see I don't know, maybe this is derailing your dark that conversation. I really just want to see some granny goodness. Like, can we see her?
It has to be Kathy Bates.
Okay, 100%. Kathy Bates is granny
dude,
goodness.
Yes.
I'm here for it. So, like, to me, like, that's a little bit of that origin. I think that would be cool to see that and just see him, like, tortured and punished and.
Or I want like a little bit of Grant Morrison where it's just Darkseid is.
Darkseid is. Yep.
I mean, but Darkseid is.
Jennifer watched the Grant Morrison documentary and it blew her mind.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Please go and watch. Like, to me, like,
be inebriated.
Oh yeah, that No. I would say maybe be sober, but that gave me a whole new perspective on Grant Morrison. Like, I've read a lot of things that he's written, but it didn't like connect everything for me. And when I think Grant Morrison, like, I immediately, like, I just go to We3. And now that, like, I have an insight into Grant Morrison's mind, if you can call it that, like, I need to read anything that's not We3.
I've had a breakthrough.
What is that you're referring to when you say We3 or E3? You say
We3.
It's an animal book.
Do you have it there?
I thought I had it. That's what I was thinking.
It's not accessible.
It is. It totally is. It's within our. So We3, Grant Morrison, and it's really good. And it's basically about these animals turned soldiers, and I don't want to like give anything away, but it's good. It's heartbreaking, and Frank Quitely. Unfortunately, none of the animals have that like Superman jawline that Frank Quitely does. That's my only complaint, is that the animals don't have Superman jawlines. But I
love Frank Quitely's book. So it's a Grant Morrison book drawn by Frank Quitely. I guess I'm gonna have to read that because
I brought the Morrison X-Men yesterday as one of my picks of stuff people should read.
The Morrison's X-Men.
Yes.
Definitely.
And all that, like.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like you should read that as a standalone X-Men book. You know, you cannot. It would have worked. It would have worked. It would have worked not better. I think it works. It's perfect the way it is right now. But it would have worked with other stuff after that if Marvel wouldn't have tried to, backtrack a bunch of the stuff that Morrison did for New X-Men.
When you come in and kill 2,000 mutants in the first issue.
So I have a couple of books did anyone else bring, like, if you liked Irredeemable, you would like this? Because I have a couple recommendations.
No, that's actually pretty cool now that you mention it. I'm very interested because obviously if you like Irredeemable, I would recommend Red Son. I would recommend Birthright, which is another good book. I would recommend.
See, you mentioned Birthright and I completely forgot about that one. Like, I read volume 1 and then, I mean, it's so good. So I have.
But what you recommend,
Okay, so I have 3 here, and I don't have one with me, but I would definitely recommend The Boys, because when I think about like
Good.
superheroes being evil, 100%, I think The Boys does that very well. But I would also recommend Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah.
So our boy Mark Waid and Alex Ross, I think that this does a really good job of establishing them.
Yeah, that's a great book to start. Yeah, that's an amazing book. You know, one of the things I love about that book it's when that's my favorite page from that book.
Aw.
Like legit, yeah. That's I've always loved that page. Sorry, I'm stuttering so much.
No, that's okay. So I just wanted to, because when I was thinking about this, I like looked on my shelf and I'm like, which one do I have that I would recommend? And then this one I thought was perfect. And so my other one, because we talked about Alan Moore, it's Watchmen.
I mean,
I think that if people are they've read their superheroes and they want to explore more of that like superhero gone bad, or at least the complexities of worshiping superheroes and then seeing superheroes fall from grace, this would be the one.
so I honestly feel, I honestly think that if someone says, "Hey, I would recommend me a book of superheroes gone bad," I would just flat out start with Watchmen. Honestly,
Yeah. If someone's into comic books and they haven't read Watchmen, then I would say like
what are you
go.
doing with your life, right?
Yeah, like I mean, and I don't want to be the
Poser.
gatekeeper.
You're not a comic
and,
fan.
Yeah, I don't want to be that person, and I don't want to discourage anyone
will.
from getting into comic books. But I also, I would say that if you feel like you like comic books and if you haven't watched or if you haven't read Watchmen, then do it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't judge anyone for not having read Watchmen yet,
Mhm.
but I would honestly be like, hey, this should be like one of the books that you need to read before you die. So get on it now,
Yeah.
because you don't know if you die tomorrow.
For
So
sure.
You just gave me an idea. We should
Yeah.
have an essential reads episode.
Oh, I
Ooh.
like that.
That would have to be a series. That would have to be like, I don't know, that's more than just one episode, unless we just want to like all get day drunk and like 8-hour stream of like essential reads.
So
I mean,
Gambit,
I don't.
we talked about an Alan Moore episode.
With an Alan Moore episode.
Yeah.
Alan Moore, favorite stories, like
Oof.
just.
Let me get back to you on that.
We could do that when you're tattooing my Blade the Immortal.
Right. Listen, I can't wait to get back to work. I like the staying at home and drawing all day, but mostly I've been playing Mortal Kombat because I don't have the energy to sit down and draw.
Which, speaking of you drawing, thank you
Yes.
so much.
You're welcome.
Like, it's not, I mean, it is my D&D character, but it's not because I DM more than I actually play. This Saturday, I'm hoping that I'll actually get a chance to play.
Nice.
So yeah, but so thank
Yeah,
you.
that's when you told me that it was essentially you, I just like, I'm just gonna draw her with books and
Yeah.
dyes everywhere.
It was
kind of.
perfect.
Yeah, I laughed because I saw Instagram and I saw Sid found her picture and liked it. Also, if you want a commission of your D&D character or just a commission in general, go to gambitsinc.com.
Yes.
Prices are very affordable, especially if you want color. $120 for a 9x12 or a comic book blank.
Yeah.
It's $60 for just pencils, I believe.
I have nothing. Okay, so right now digital commissions are $20, and for black
the D&D
and white
character.
Yeah, no, any character, honestly.
Oh.
I was announcing it as a D&D character because so many people asked me about drawing their D&D characters that I thought that, but honestly, it can be any. If you want a Wolverine drawing, I'll do a Wolverine drawing for you.
Hell yeah! What if my D&D character is Wolverine?
Well, I'll do Wolverine as a D&D character
with a monster manual in front of him.
It's not that difficult to do, actually. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Damn it, I'm moving that video with those videos. Anyway, so it's just $20 for the just pencil because it's a digital commission drawing, and $60 for full color right now. But that's just now. If you want These are 120. This is a sketch cover, full color. Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, just gambitsync.com, and there's a shop, and there's various options that you can choose from. So
And there's an
if you
info
want,
thing of what you want, how you want it, and
yes,
all
you
that.
can you type down the information, or you can email me or contact. Usually, what people do is that they contact me directly through Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and we
At Gambits Inc.
yeah,
Do you
we set
accept
up.
carrier pigeon?
Yeah,
Smoke
sure.
signal? Can I send a smoke signal of what I want?
You
Just kidding.
a little bit far for me to see the smoke signal, but we can try. Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Depends. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, smoke signals. We can work with that.
So on the subject of fallen heroes and books, I would recommend
Yes.
Squadron Supreme.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
dude. You know, I have that here. I'm supposed to have read that already.
So this
I
came out
guess
the
I
same
haven't.
time Watchmen came out, got completely buried, but it's Marvel's version of Watchmen.
Do you know that I learned about Squadron Supreme in the 90s when Alex Ross did that cover?
Yes.
That's when I learned what it's like. What is this? And someone said, it's Marvel's Watchmen, and I said, I'm not gonna read that. You know,
It's different, but it's kind of the same. But Mark Grunwald did such a great story, and unfortunately, it got buried and lost because of Watchmen. It was like, oh no, like Alan Moore's enough for us. We're not going to dive into this.
Who
Also,
wrote that one?
Mark Grunwald, with art by Al Milgrom and Paul Neary.
Yeah, I know. I recognize those names.
Also, Mark Miller did the Jupiter's Legacy Circle series.
Oh my God, that's really good too.
So if you want to get into fallen heroes and kind of war between heroes, fucking great series.
Especially with like the family.
Yes,
drama,
the family dynamics.
The family, like the fucked up family dynamics, like that Jupiter's Legacy, Jupiter's Circle. Like, man, that's a good one. I forgot about that one.
It was incredible, and Netflix, I think, picked it up.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because they have like an exclusive thing, thing with
Netflix,
Millar World.
Netflix bought Miller World, so it's kind of like their thing now.
I want to see Nemesis. I want to see Nemesis bad.
Ooh.
Yes, dude, superior to. I have to say this. I have a whole shelf, just one shelf dedicated to Miller World books.
Ooh.
Like I just turned around. I was like, oh shit! I was gonna say, I think I have a few of them, and it's legit just a whole shelf of it. It's ridiculous.
We talked about shelves the other day because what'd you say, Jen? You have like one shelf that's just Marvel and one DC, and everything else is Image.
Pretty much, and that's why, so I feel like I do have a lot of Marvel single issues and like DC single issues. I've got like a long box or two of each. But like when I think about my trades, like I'm one Marvel, one DC. I do have an entire Neil Gaiman shelf, so that has some of like those things. But yeah, like all of this is Image. Yeah.
So I have a Daredevil shelf.
mine is a pretty. I'm gonna do this. It's pretty balanced out. It's like two bookshelves of DC. It's one of DC, one of Marvel, and the other one is Image and Dark Horse all combined, and Dungeons and Dragons books. But yeah, it's pretty balanced out. Actually, I don't know who I was talking
balanced
with. Balanced
as all things should be.
Yeah. No, it's for real. It's like things need to have some sort of balance. Like I was talking with a friend the other day. He said, "So are you a DC or Marvel dude?" He said, "I don't know, man. I like both of them."
Yeah.
It's like when you see my single issues, I have more Marvel than DC, and when you see my trades, I might have more DC than Marvel. But at the end of the day, kind of like.
I have a Warren Ellis shelf. I have a shelf for Garth Ennis. And then I have an Alan Moore section, like I put by author together.
Yeah. I do that. It depends, because like I do that with Alan Moore. Mark Miller has its own shelf for Miller World, but his stuff that is on DC is on DC, and the stuff on Marvel is on Marvel.
Yeah, I got Warren Ellis. Kind of, he's got his own little area too. I really Jason Aaron's starting to get a rather large area.
Oh, dude, Jason Aaron, yeah, like legit. I didn't realize how many Jason Aaron books I had. Like it's like wow, I have a lot of Jason Aaron books. So back to Irredeemable.
Sorry.
Before
Yeah.
no, it's okay because we have a lot to talk about. We haven't. You guys have been hanging out for a while, but I haven't been here
Yeah.
for a
Well,
month
you've been
now.
missed. Especially
We talk-
Cynthia's
I'm
hot
pretty sure-
takes.
We talk about you just about every episode. So
You know, one of the things that I really like, the covers are all by Cassidy and by John Cassidy, and
Are they?
yes,
What?
the covers. Yeah, you
No.
yes, the Irredeemable covers. They're all like this is issue 1 and 2, John Cassidy.
Oh, I don't have a cover gallery in mine.
Oh, you suck.
Aw.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite artists. I say I discovered him with Astonishing X-Men. As much as many people hate Astonishing X-Men, I really love that.
Kitty Pryde
I
is my
love
favorite.
that.
That's why I have her
I love
tattoo on
that.
my leg. John Cassidy and Joss Whedon both like my tattoo on Twitter.
Yeah,
Nah.
that's right. That's where when I discover him, and I every time I see that he's done a cover or something, I try either to pick it up or at least look at it. You know, from the store, it's like, oh well, I'm not reading this book, but this is a really good cover. You know.
Have you made it through Planetary at all? I remember giving you all the digital files.
No. I have them, but I forgot I have that.
Jen just started reading it.
I'm like 75% through the first volume, and it's like it's a thick one. Like it's not like a
2 Cs.
4 or 5. Yeah, it's not a 4 or 5 issue one. It's like what 16, 17.
It's 16, I think, because it's a 25 issue run.
Yeah.
Just 25 issues?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I thought it
was just
more than that.
A 2-year gap in between the runs, though.
Okay.
But
so
it's so good. You gotta read it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. So that one of the things that I really like about the this book is that the covers are by Cassidy, and I noticed something that I noticed now that I'm talking about them, that all of the covers, even the ones that are not drawn by him, mostly show him and maybe one other character. That's it, nothing else. Which I think is very interesting because it doesn't give you anything about the story or what's happening except that it says Irredeemable. I mean, you can put 1, 2, and 2 together, but so one of the things that legit took me by surprise was when one of the brothers died, and the other one's like, suddenly and behold my true form.
Yeah, he was hiding his power the whole time because I was like, I thought for sure he was gonna die and that he was sacrificing himself, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what the fuck is?
It was totally unexpected, but he got cocky. So I'm pretty sure, I haven't read the volume 2 of this book, but I'm pretty sure that volume 2 and or maybe later on, that character is not probably gonna get his.
I felt the rage of that guy with like, hey, why is that girl dressed like you? Why are there all these? She walks in that room with all the statues of herself.
You know that there's nothing back there. There's nothing back there. Oh my! You know there's an issue that starts with him just looking at watching her and this other dude that looks like him from behind having sex, and it's like, this is super creepy. Yes,
that was very creepy because he's like, say it, and she's like, save me, and I'm just like, ew, I vomited a little bit in my mouth.
Right.
It was like creepy.
Oh my god, this is disgusting, which is great. So if Mark Waid ever hears this or check this video out, props, because it worked. It managed to made me like go like
Dry heave. Oh
my. I was like, wait, what is going on here? I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then I just felt like, well, that was a creepy page. But then later on, when you see that he has a room that you go like, oh.
And the husband's like, hey, why is she dressed like you?
It's like, yeah, why is she dressed like you? It's like, nothing, just okay.
Oh man.
She was and later on I'm pretty sure she was ready to kill either him or her. Who do you think she was ready to kill? I think
she was trying to kill the girl.
Yeah.
You think it was her? Damn.
Put the bullet in. I'm like,
Yep,
Uh-oh.
she was ready to go. Like, okay, this is it. I guess I'm gonna have to kill a bitch here. You know?
So this is one of those things too, where all of the heroes are kind of unlikable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not in a way where I think that they've all, I don't know, like not necessarily where they've all done like shitty things or that they've done like crazy acts of violence to make you hate them, but maybe that like their personalities just don't click or
Kind of like the boys.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't read The Boys, but because I actually
Well, the show even you have the guy who the super speed who's also juicing.
Oh, that is true. That is true. That is, but yeah, but you can you at some point you kind of feel bad for that one.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, come on, because it's some way or another they're all being used, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when you have someone that powerful in your group, it's really, now that I think about it, you've being in a group with someone that powerful has to be the hell was that? Ridiculously difficult, just to exist next to someone so powerful. Make you feel powerless, even though you can have like, for example, if I was Batman next to Superman, I can understand why Batman is like, fuck that guy.
I bet there's a lot of just like dick measuring contests. Like
all of it.
I'm more powerful, and not even necessarily like literal dick measuring contests, but like
no, they measure.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
But I think that there's just a lot of like, I can fly faster than you, or I can do this better than you. Like that's what I imagine a day in the life of a superhero would be.
Yeah, day in the life in Justice League.
Neil Gaiman and Detective did the Death of Batman issue where they had all the villains showing up to his faux funeral. And in it, they talk about he was the man who walked among gods and was always measuring himself against. And Grant Morrison touched into that a little bit in his Batman run, where Batman's basically near death constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is true. When you think about it, it's like, yeah, this is just a regular dude, and he's literally walking amongst gods every day, doing his thing.
And then Zack Snyder, cut into it briefly in Justice League with, "What's your superhero? I'm rich.
I'm rich."
Like,
I mean,
I think that's one thing. Like I like about Batman as a character is that he is a human being, but there's a lot. Yeah, but there is a lot of that psychological drama. Like we don't need another billionaire, and if he spent more of his like money fixing Gotham, then we probably wouldn't have a lot of crime. That's me writing Batman. But
no, that's happening right now. Actually writing that right
now. That's what's happening.
But like I really love the, like, to me, like when I think about Batman, like I think who is Batman? Does Batman put on the Bruce Wayne mask? Does Bruce Wayne put on the Batman mask? And that's why I really like when we were talking earlier about like who's Superman? Is Superman Clark Kent? Like no, like Clark Kent is Superman. So I don't know. I love those discussions about
Spider-Man. Spider-Man is basically why we fell in love with Spider-Man. It's because Peter Parker. He's
Peter
a schlub.
Parker. Yeah. And he's like quirky little kid, and
he's a nerd who gets beat up on, like, and he can't do anything about it because otherwise he reveals himself.
Yeah.
So I have every time someone asks me what's your favorite character, I have 4 characters that are my favorite characters. It's Batman, it's Gambit, it's Spider-Man, and it's Lobo. It's 2 from DC and 2 from Marvel, and not on purpose. It's just that it's like that.
So why Gambit? I'm curious.
So why I like him, or why do I get that nickname?
No, why do you like him? Because I mean, when he first popped up in the scene, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I was like, eh.
It's exactly that. He's just cool. That's all. For me, the character is just that he's just a cool character. You can always be cool in any situation. You can always look cool and be cool about. It's not that he as a character is like that. And in this case, it's more of a visual thing. It's not that he always, you can be cool in a situation and you can not stress out about the situation, or you can just lose your shit, So that's something that I really enjoy.
I feel like I always, like, I don't know, I resent Gambit a little bit because I've seen a lot where Jubilee is mentioned as one of the most useless superhero, or at least one of the most like useless X-Men, and I'm like, really, like we're having this conversation about Jubilee being useless and Gambit is not. Like,
What are you talking about? He's not useless.
Pete Holmes did a video of like Gambit. He's like, "What do you do? I throw cards.
I throw
Throw cards." How
Yeah.
cool is that? Come on, I throw
Like, you
cards
can
that
throw
explode. Tell me
anything,
that's
and
not cool.
I don't know. I would think that if Gambit went up against Jubilee, like, it's Jubilee all day.
Nah,
Okay.
come on.
All right, we're on the subject. Characters that are your characters. What do you got?
What?
Like-
What the other
Well,
characters?
you just named your characters. Like, what, Jen? What's your
like
character?
Oh,
So like see, that's so tough because I feel like most of my characters
Let's
that
pick-
I really
pick two.
enjoy, like so if I had to say like one of my favorite superheroes is going to be Batwoman. I really like, I've always appreciated her story, especially when you can really age comic book readers, because her story came out whenever Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a thing, and before gay marriage was legalized in the United States. So a lot of her story focuses around that. And now that we don't necessarily see that anymore. So anyways, I fell in love with the character when all of that was going on. So I love Batwoman. Another one of my favorite characters is going to be Death from Sandman, just because formative teen years, I saw Death, and not only aesthetically was she one of the characters that I really loved, but I loved how you think of Death as this big bad presence, but she's really just there to comfort you into the afterlife. And maybe that's why, like, sorry, Luna. But I've got my Death tattoo here. And Cinnamon Hadley.
I need to see that later.
Yeah. Oh, you can see it a little bit now. So there's this woman, Cinnamon Hadley, who inspired the look for Death, and she passed away, and I wanted a Death tattoo, and I'm like, okay, Dawn, who was my tattoo artist in Florida, I love you and I miss you, Dawn. So anyways, I got this tattoo for the after Cinnamon Hadley died. So I don't know, when I think about like my favorite characters, they're not necessarily going to be the traditional like superhero, but that's two. So Batwoman and Death, probably also Lion Cat, which I also have a tattoo of, if you can see, and I don't know, maybe Magneto.
Yeah, Magneto is a shit. It's one of my favorite villains. I just feel weird liking villains, honestly.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, Magneto is my complete bone zone. Like, I would totally bang him. Like,
100%. Okay, so I would also
He's
say
right.
if I had to add another like one of my favorite characters, I'm also going to say Angela, who originated in Spawn, came over to the Marvel universe. She's another one of my favorite characters. So
yeah, that's a pretty good character.
What about you, Dan?
Spider-Man, because Peter Parker. It's the Peter Parker that I related to the most. Definitely Batman's one of my big characters that I've always followed. Kitty Pryde was like my first comic crush, I guess you could call it, because in the book she was like my age, but I've always loved that character. And also, like, she was one of the first characters that in a book kind of made me realize my parents were a little racist.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
There was an X-Men issue where they went on about kind of racism and stuff, and I read it. I was like, holy shit. My parents are kind of horrible people.
Damn it! I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing to make fun of you. It's just that it's really fucked up to realize it through a comic book. It's like, oh shit, wait.
Like, literally, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, man. I mean, not big two, but I guess it kind of is. Jesse Custer from Preacher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from Preacher. It's like Jesse Custer.
He's one of those characters that kind of brooches on that good and bad.
Yes.
Where he has no morals, but man, there is that scene I posted on my Comic Shop News Instagram where it's him as a kid with his dad, and he's like, be good because there's not enough good people in the world. And that scene constantly just breaks my heart.
haunts you.
It not haunts, but just every time I look at it, and Steve Dillon fucking nailed the shit out of that panel.
Dude, right? I mean, he nailed the shit out of the whole series. Come on.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson has always been a favorite of mine because I grew up with Dick Grayson. Same with Wally West. Wally was always my Flash.
You know that although I don't have I can't say that between Wally and Barry. I can't choose which one's my favorite because I legit like them both.
No love for Jay Garrick.
Jay Garrick? No, because you know what? When I learned
Just-
about Jay Garrick, when I learned about Jay Garrick, I was like, who is that dude? You know, it's like it was super late in the game when I learned about Jay Garrick.
I hate that Doughboy helmet. Like, it just bothers me.
Yeah.
There is a weird love I have for Green Arrow, and I think it's only because of that Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil series, where at the time they had Green Lantern and Green Arrow fighting racism, and they were doing social justice stuff that did not exist. There was no politics back then in comics.
right. So the reason I like Gambit is because of that. You know, he's always cool in any situation. He's cool. And with Spider-Man, it's because, you know, I can relate to the struggle, and I learned that with him, I learned that it doesn't matter how bad they beat you, you can get up from that. You know, you can get up from that shit and continue and persist. And with Batman was like, with enough training and enough money, you know, you can
money.
But more, it was more of the training part. You can achieve the closest to human perfection as possible. You know, if you train yourself, if you, and when I say human perfection, I'm not saying that you can achieve human perfection, but as close as you can get, you know, by taking care of yourself and training and educating yourself and all those things, you know, and with Lobo, it's because it's fucking Lobo, man. What's not to like?
I do have two special shout outs I need to call out because when I was younger, I think it formed my opinions. Fucking Storm, when she lost her powers, Chris Claremont, always a powerful female character. When she had no powers and she beat Scott for leadership. When it was Punk Rock.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that was one of the most powerful women of color that you could have ever put in books.
Not that
she was able to
too
hang with them.
many, because there's a severe lack of power.
No, but her without the powers, though,
But, yeah.
beating his ass and taking leadership, and then beating the Morlocks and taking leadership. Like, that was a lot. And again, she was with all these mighty mutants, and she had no powers at all. Like, for me, that was a huge fucking deal. And then Oracle.
Oh.
Barbara Gordon. Yeah. Gail Simone, the way she took her over and made her matter even after Killing Joke.
Yeah. That was one of the, like, especially after Killing Joke. And I think, I don't know if this was on purpose. Maybe, like, there's something that I'm missing. But there's a huge lack of her in the Birds of Prey movie. Like, I loved Birds of Prey, the movie. I had a fun time. But I don't know if maybe they're going to do some, like, an Oracle movie, or if they're going to give her more justice on the screen. But, man, I really want to see Oracle.
I've heard the Batgirl movie, they were even talking about not having Barbara Gordon.
That
which is a mistake.
Sucks.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, I agree. That is a big mistake.
But I will also credit John Ostrander, who did Suicide Squad, for bringing Barbara Gordon back and making her matter.
Yeah.
And then Gail Simone putting her in Birds of Prey with Black Canary, who basically was a sidekick the way she was treated for most of her run.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's enough credit given to Gail Simone the way she brought some of these characters back. She made Huntress matter again. I'm a huge Gail Simone fan. I'm not going to hide that.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, she's a great writer. You know what? One of the things that going back to Irredeemable, one of the things that got me off track when I was reading it was, you know, the kid that has the jewel in his head. I forgot his name right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, they're talking to him, trying to make him remember, and then suddenly they show you that he's actually dead. You know,
Yes.
you're like, wait, he said he can be Waid. You know,
It
which
regenerates because of the jewel.
yes, which takes me to the end of the book because we're already there. When he escapes the beating that the one of the twins was giving him, the place that he goes to, the place that he goes to is to where the kid is buried, you know.
Mhm.
And I wasn't expecting that, which is that so guys, spoiler, I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that his comfort zone was next to the. I'm looking forward to read more to see why. First, why did he kill the kid? He could have just. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things, you know, that just talking probably would have been fixed, you know.
Yeah.
But he went, like I said, he went from hero to villain in just 2 pages, basically,
They
you
start
know.
with Jimmy Olsen going, "You're a liar," and going, "Fuck you."
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that. It's like, oh, you're liars, whatever, man. That's it, you know. Which someone that powerful. I mean, you can tell he was tired of just doing, and not being appreciated. And it's basically what happened. He's just like, fuck it, and he just, you know,
I'm
and
gonna say
and
I got something to say that's a little outlandish here. I know how much Comicsgate hates Mark Waid.
Yeah.
they do.
This is a very Comicsgate book.
Really,
Yeah.
really. I'm not that familiar with them.
There's
I just
kink, there's a
not pay
bad
attention.
hero, there's action. Like this feels like a very Comicsgate book, and they hate Mark Waid. Mark Waid, like
Yeah.
him and Kurt Busiek, they go after with a passion
Jesus, what is wrong with these kids?
Yeah.
because they're very much verbally abusive against them. Like it's one of those deals. But like I'm reading the book, going, boy, for people who hate Mark Waid, this is very much a Comicsgate book. There is kink, there's kind of women abuse, it's everything.
Yeah, but I think it's done. It's done in a way not just to be gratuit. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think because it's done in a way that to portray how fucked up that situation is, not doing it for the sake of doing it. Because there's a big difference when you're writing a character like this. I feel like there's a big difference when you have this character do certain things just for the sake of doing them, or doing something to express a point of view or to demonstrate how fucked up that situation is, you know. Just having a character do something, just, let's have him rape this girl just to have him rape this girl, makes
Yeah.
no sense. There's no need for that. And
You don't need to
sometimes,
have that in those stores. Like you don't need to have
yes,
that.
and sometimes, exactly, and sometimes I feel like sometimes readers read into things more than they should. Like, and the example that I'm going to give is a Killing Joke. The end of the Killing Joke, people say the Killing Joke at the end that the Batman killed the Joker. And when I read that book, and still when I read it now, years later, I learned that people see it that way. It's like, no, what I saw was that for a brief moment, they shared a laugh and just show you how different things could be, you know,
It's
in a
mainly
different
Batman starts
situation.
choking him after, though.
It's not choking. I feel like he just puts his hand in his shoulder, like, ha 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 ha, we're laughing, and well, apparently you're dead, but I didn't know that, you know. So I feel like there's times when people just read into certain things a little bit more than they should, and I feel like these comic gates, from now I know who you're talking about. For a minute, but I now know who you're talking about, and I sometimes feel like they just read things in a different manner, in a different way, just because they just want to read it that way, I guess, you know, which in my opinion makes them a little bit shitty, you know.
I mean, there is a place for diversity. There honestly
Yeah.
is. There is a place. Do I like the analog characters that don't come naturally, not really.
Yeah,
like
but
if you're gonna create a person of color character or
Mhm.
an LG, don't use an analog. Make it natural. Like
yeah,
See, I feel like there's like I don't know. I understand where you're coming from, but I think that in the beginning there has been a serious lack of
yeah.
diverse characters.
100%.
So
Miles
I think
Morales, I thought Bendis brought in perfectly.
Oh yeah, it's
incredible,
perfect.
especially like they're like my nephews who are of color, and I want them to see awesome, like they love Spider-Man, and for them to be able to see Miles Morales, like to me, we I don't know, I'm always going to be one of those people that, yes, I am going to be one of those people that reads way into comic books and the stories, and I'm going to analyze things in a completely different way, and I'm going to do it in a totally social justice warrior
Oh,
way. But
I think that I'm sorry that I interrupted
good.
you. Because I think that maybe the way I phrase it is there's nothing wrong with sometimes reading into things, because sometimes they're written that way on purpose. That's why you leave some things off panel. But I feel like it's being read. Some things in between those panels are being read incorrectly. Not and I'll get back to you on that. Let me rephrase that so that
I
I'm trying to
100%
rephrase it.
Jane Foster Thor. I went all in,
Yeah,
being
I love
fucked
that.
out on, and I was wrong. I was fucking wrong. Jason Aaron handled it perfectly. Rick Remender with Sam Wilson, Captain America, not so
Mhm.
much.
I think that there is sometimes it can feel forced, and I think that I understand that, yes, when we look back and we think about Jewish creators creating like Superman, and we think, but to me, like that's not the end all be all of diversity. When I
Mhm.
think about characters like Black Panther and all of these characters of color and like diverse gender characters not being written by the like cultures that they're a part of, like not only do we need diversity on the screen or on the page, but behind
Yeah.
the page too.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And I'm saying that 100% with Batwoman being one of my favorite stories, and it's basically like all of my favorite stories were mostly written by men, and even though a lot of them are female characters, they're
Yeah.
not written by the cast is not as diverse.
Greg Rucka handled Batwoman deftly, though, like 100%. I think it was you, Gambit, who posted that Black Panther thing where Stan Lee handed Jack Kirby that information to do certain things in the book, and then Jack Kirby's like, "Well, no, fuck it, he's gonna fight the KKK in the first."
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I post so many things about that sometimes. So yeah, I agree. I like with Batwoman and which is the examples that we're giving, and with Jane Foster. At first, I was like, I couldn't care less about Batwoman. I was like, it's just stupid. This is just stupid. And then I read it, and I was like, okay, so I need to shut my mouth. It was actually very good. Same with Jane Foster. It's like, this makes no. Oh, okay. And actually, it was during that that run that I decided to go back, read uh, God of Thunder, and yes, exactly, and go back and read God of Thunder, and that's how Jason Aaron became one of my favorite writers with the Jane Foster Thor. And I agree. We need more of everyone in the front of the screen and behind the scenes, especially behind the scenes. It's a lot of. I notice how many, like for example, in Hollywood, how many people do the same script, not the same script. But how many movies have the same writers? Is there what is Goyer the only writer that's out there? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I mean, I will even say Latin creators aren't out there as much. There's not enough Latin superheroes, villains, nothing like. Well, villains, yes, but
Yeah.
there's not enough heroes that they've put out there. Like, I mean, God, in the 70s, what was their White Tiger?
White Tiger, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Latin character that's a kung fu expert.
She's a Puerto Rican, by the way.
I'm probably gonna butcher this, but have you read what is it, Lo Borinquena? Puerto Rican superhero.
La Brinqueña.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm so sorry
Yes.
I butchered it, but
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I haven't read it, but it looks really good.
It's give me a second. I haven't read the book La Brinqueña, but I did read the Reconstruction, the one that
Okay.
they did with DC, and that I'm trying to see if I can find it. But yeah, and they were good reads. I actually got the chance to interview Miranda for the Puerto Rico Comic Con for one of his panels, and he was a really cool dude, and I could relate to him in his way of thinking about how there's very little of us and how very little people see of us. And when I say us, I mean, and I'm talking right now about minorities and Latinos, and how rich we are in how creative we are, and how many of us there are out there, and that we're not being recognized or being it's like, let's do it, let's do this, and this is the opportunity. And he did it, he pitched it, and they got it done.
Whenever I think about people who with Comicsgate, and not even just Comicsgate, because I feel like this is people who don't identify with that certain group of people will complain about forced diversity, and they'll complain on screen as well as behind the scene in the creative process. But I think that for me, and this is as a white girl saying this, is that I want to see the reality that's reflected around me. I want to see stories and creative teams that reflect my friends and family and people that I know. And I think, and for me, that is a very colorful cast of people, whether you're looking at cultures, whether you're looking at like LGBTQ people, like those are the people that surround me as my friends. And I want to see like cast and creative people. That's who I want to see. And I think ultimately people who complain about diversity in comic books, they don't have that in their life. And there's a part of me that I want to feel bad for them. I mean, I don't, but I just think that I want to see the people reflected around me in the stories that I read and the creative teams that I see.
Yeah, for me,
I agree.
It's usually not about the characters, it's about how they introduce them. I thought the way Jeff Johns introduced Jessica Cruz worked as one of the new, and Simon Baz also, and then making them a team, a Middle Eastern and a I know she's Spanish origin, I don't know exactly what culture, but
I wasn't reading Justice League at that time.
It was nice seeing them have a Latino or Latina Green Lantern with a Middle Eastern Green Lantern, and how they work together, and they had them as a team. If you do the origin or how they come to be that organically and just don't ham-fist it in, I'm not going to stop.
It's just that it's a very delicate thing, and not everyone has the know how to do it. How
like Greg Rucka, what he did with Montoya, I thought was fantastic.
For sure.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If right now as a writer, I wouldn't even try with the books that I write. I wouldn't even try to write a gay character or a female character convincing. I would legit have someone do it with me. That's
at least a good self-evaluation where there's people who write them not understanding. I know Gail Simone, when she was writing Batgirl, actually talked to a therapist about PTSD and how to write it when she was writing when Joker was coming back with Oracle or Batgirl. So she did the research before actually going and actually writing that story, so she at least knew some of the information.
But that's not everyone, that.
No.
That does not every writer does that, and then some of these writers are stuck with an assignment and say, hey, this is what you need to do. It's like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do that now?
And ultimately, they're always writing it as an outsider. Like if I try to write a Black Panther story, I'm always, as much as like that would be like cool as hell to be able to write something like that. No matter all the research that I do, I will always be writing it as an outsider. It's going to be as an outsider.
Which with Ta-Nehisi Coates came back into that new series, like perfect fucking guy you could have write that. 100%, and now he's writing Captain America. His Captain America run's been fucking great.
Yeah.
Check that out.
since we're on Irredeemable still, so
Right.
would you say that this is kind of the Superman syndrome with him, where he kind of thinks he's unbeatable and not looking at the people around him could actually possibly take him down?
I mean, I feel like except for the plot twist when the twin big suddenly is like Wah! And beats the shit out of him for a second. I think that he legit honestly knows for sure that they can't take him down except for
The
this
one
one
villain.
right now.
And the one villain who they kept saying
And
always
the one
took him.
and the yes, I believe. Oh, wait a minute, wait a second. How cool is it that his villain hideout is inside of a volcano?
Oh yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
cool. That is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Just had to throw it out there. So I feel like that dude is inside of a jail cell or something inside that volcano.
That also, when the girl's like, "Oh God, we're in his fort," and they're like, "Wait, how do you know that?"
I was like,
Yeah.
Hey. I mean, yeah, it's I didn't see it. I honestly didn't see it that way. I honestly thought it was like, I mean, I guess that you see something like that immediately. You've dealt with enough villains and superheroes, you immediately know what a hideout looks like. Like, oh, I'm guessing that's his hideout. You know, that's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that's a line that I would say even if I don't know the place of it. I'm pretty sure that's his hideout. You know,
He has a big fucking throne chair with his symbol on it. And I'm like, that's evil. If you're putting a big chair with your symbol on it, that's evil.
So, yeah,
I think
so you
that's
see,
the way of the story being like self-aware of itself, and it could be one of those like plot things like, well, how would you know? Oh, the character's already said it. So I think that's just good writing. Like that's very specific. Like that was in there intentionally.
Oh no, it's great. It was great writing. That's what I was gonna say about the book. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was thought I was going to enjoy it. I thought I was just gonna see another superhero gone bad story. Meh,
When you
but
told me the plot, I was like, all right, well, we'll see how this goes.
I mean, we were all going blind because I hadn't read it yet either. So I legit was going. I got it, and I wanted to read it just because it was a Mark Waid book more than anything. Just okay. I'm gonna see what Mark Waid has to say about this. And
So
way better than
writer
anticipated.
art synergy on this. What did you think?
I like it. I really like it. Like I said at the beginning, it although I know I was not reading a Superman book, and it didn't feel like Superman. It felt like I was reading a Superman book. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because it's not Superman. It's not a Superman book. It's not Superman gone bad. But it is a Superman book of Superman going bad.
Very much.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah. It was like I said, I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. I liked that it gave me that Dan Jorgens feel in the art. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it was on purpose. I want to think that it was on purpose. That they saw the same thing I did, and it's like, yeah, that's the dude needs to do it because it fits perfectly. I think it fits perfectly. It gave me that 90s feel in the art style, not 90s image comics, which is like wow.
Yeah.
More that classic DC feel.
Extreme.
For sure. Yeah.
when I was because when I was getting into comic really into comic was more or less around that time, a few years before the death of Superman. I have been reading comic books before that, but it was more of whatever issue I can get at the pharmacy, But
Same here.
at that point, it was a little bit more focused. I want to read this, and I want to read this, and I was learning who the artists were and who the writers were. So for me, Dan Jorgen has a very, very, very special place in here. I met him a few years ago at MegaCon, and I freaked out, and I was like, and then gave him the book to sign. He signed it. I was like, and I walked away. Couldn't say anything.
That was me with George Perez.
Dude,
he did Don Troy sketch for me. I was like, thank you.
The first time I met George Perez was the same. It was super surreal. experience. I met him for my wife for my wedding at DragonCon. My wife is friends with him. Before I met her, so she was like, "Oh, I'm going to introduce you to someone one day," and I was like, "Who?" And she says, "Uncle George." And who the fuck is Uncle George? That's how she calls him, and his close friends call him. And I was like, "What the fuck?" She said, "It's George Perez." Like, what? We talk about it, all that. But then actually, I went to DragonCon, and he was the ring bearer on my wedding with her.
He is the
nicest
nicest creator I've ever met.
Yeah.
I
Super.
was in line and I had him do a Wonder Girl sketch for me. And he saw I had another commission of Donna Troy from someone else. He goes, "Who is that?" I was like, "Oh, he's down Ars Alley. Could you go get him?" I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Go get him over here." I was like,
Okay.
And I went over. I was like, "Hey, George Perez wants to talk to you." And he goes, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, George Perez wants to talk to you." And he goes, "Listen, it's late in the day. I don't want to deal with this shit." I was like, "No, like literally, I was just in line. He wants you to talk to you."
Yeah, I mean, I would be the same. I would be like, "What? Why?"
So I brought him over, and George goes, "You did such a great job with a recreation of my character." And the guy was about to cry, and he was like, he's like, "Thank you." And George's like, "If you want to come over after the show and talk to me for a bit, I'd love to talk to you." And I was just like, this is beautiful, and I might cry now.
I'm about to cry.
But George Perez is so damn nice, and
he's a really nice
even
person.
his love of his wife.
Aw.
He talks about her constantly on Twitter, or he was before his eye issues.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful people you will ever meet.
Yeah, he's like I said, that weekend was so surreal. It's like, holy shit.
Well, didn't you have Jimmy Palmiotti? Did you go to his house for New Year's one year?
Yeah. I went for a New Year's party at his house. Another super super surreal experience.
I wouldn't be able to. I'd be like, "Hey, so."
Yeah. No, what I did is that because before that party we actually have met for dinner once, and I got all that out. I said, "Listen, I'm gonna geek out a couple of times during the night. Just so that you know, I'm gonna geek out, and probably later on we'll meet again at some point, and I'm still going to geek out at some point again. So just bear with me for a minute." And then Amanda was telling the story about the time that she met Frank Miller, how she geeked out that time she met Frank Miller. And I said, "You see, so you understand."
Because I had that San Diego Comic-Con where I met Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Aubrey Plaza, and I was just like, "Hi."
Yeah.
And also that same one, I got invited to a Top Cow party.
What? That's
and I'm looking at Mark Silvestri the whole night going, he's one of my favorite artists. I'm not going to go over there.
Super creepy. You're like, hey.
Oh, no, I said nothing. I just sat in the corner drinking going, not going to do anything stupid. But I'm just looking over. I was like, look at that. That guy drew Cyberforce as my X-Men from my youth.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm not gonna.
My friend was like, "Don't say anything stupid."
Don't say anything stupid. That's exactly what I say. I always rehearse in my head these conversations that I'm gonna have with these people when I meet them. It's like, okay, I know I'm gonna meet this so and so. I'm gonna go and tell him how much his books mean to me and how he inspired me to draw and how this and that and all this and that. And when I get in front of them, I go like, ah. And that's it.
Yeah,
I ruin it every time. I ruin it.
Mark Waid's writing overall, did you think this is one of his better books, or do you have better books by him?
No. And I wouldn't say that this is one of his better books. It's a good book. Yeah, it's a good book. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like it's more something that he needed to get out. He needed to get it out. I need to put this out there. This is an idea that I have, and I know it's a good idea. I know it's a solid idea. And I need to put this out there, and he put it out. And like I said, it's a good book. It's a solid good book. I like I said, I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say that it's on his best work. I said that Kingdom Come is one of his best things. So
I feel like after reading this, because Mark, he's not really someone that I would gravitate towards. I have specific writers that I follow, and he's not someone that if something came out, I'd be like, okay, I have to get that. But after reading this, I'm like, okay, I'd probably go ahead and pick up more of his books now.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I recommend it. Maybe maybe with more issues down the line when I get volume 2, when I see the other uh you know see this story developing more, and if and when I read Incorruptible, the other one, maybe my opinion will change and be like, okay, this is his best shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than this, because remember that we're only seeing like literally chapter 1
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
of what he did.
Birthright to me would probably be one of his best.
Yeah, agree. Oh, I love Birthright so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even then, like if I wanted to talk about a Superman story, Superman for All Seasons.
Oh no, but that was just Jeff Loeb.
But there's Jeff Loeb. But I'm saying, like, if you're looking for a
Oh,
Superman
okay.
book, that
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
something I would gravitate because it's so heartfelt.
Yes.
Mark Waid, his Flash run, I wasn't a huge fan of. It's okay, but I didn't love it.
It gave us Impulse.
Yeah, that's true. I'm
And
not a big
Impulse was a really
Impulse
cool character. I really like Impulse a lot.
okay with him. I think I'm a solid 6.5, 7 out of 10 on this.
Yeah. I say that at 7. It's where I put it too.
Yeah, 6.5, 7, maybe 6.75.
It's somewhere in that wheelhouse. Like, it's good. It's something I probably would recommend to somebody who's like, hey, do you want to see evil Superman?
Exactly.
Yeah, just pretend the Plutonian is Superman.
Did you like Brightburn? Because
Yeah.
this is that fucking kid growing up.
Yeah,
This is
for
this
sure.
is oh, that's a cool. Now I'm gonna watch Brightburn, because
Underrated movie. Under fucking
Yeah.
rated movie.
Right? I agree. I saw it when it came out in Blu-ray, and I was like, why did people
And
really
then
like this?
that
What
M. Night
happened?
Shyamalan ending where they're like, these other heroes, these other
Mhm.
superpowered people, exist and were escaped.
I wanted to see a little bit more. Honestly, I felt like the movie was a little bit too short.
I winced that part where the woman with the glass in her eye. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Ugh.
yes. Oh my god. So yeah, I feel like the movie was a little bit too short. That they could have done a little bit more. But at the same time, I feel like if they would have made more, it would have been too long, and then it would be like, nah, that's too much.
it's that happy medium of I could have done more, but at the same time,
I'm okay with how. Yeah.
yeah, it could have been worse
Mm-hmm.
because
I
going
definitely
longer
enjoyed
could have
it.
ruined it.
I agree.
And he's a stalker, which was weird. Like that whole part with him in that girl's room
Oh, dude.
was
Yeah.
so fucking creepy.
But okay, so going back to that scene where the Plutonian is listening to everyone and everything at the same time, would that be considered stalking? I guess if you focus
Yes.
I guess if you focus into a specific conversation, yeah, you're stalking it. It's not that you happen to hear Louis Lane's voice talking shit about you behind your back in a multitude of people, So yeah. That was a stupid question. Sorry. I take it back. I take it back.
That's
I take
okay.
it back. So you guys decided what we're gonna read for next.
She's rubbing her hands. It's gonna be good.
Well, okay, so I went like back and forth, and like immediately I was like, okay, I know what book I'm gonna recommend. And I was thinking, okay, I really love Bitch Planet, and I'm like, no, maybe we shouldn't read Bitch. Like maybe that'll be another one. Like maybe Jennifer's book club next time. And then I was like, okay, maybe East of West because I love it, but I do want to do like a Hickman episode, so we'll probably delve into that. But I decided, and so
I know where we're going.
Do you? What do you think it is? What do you think it is?
Because I know you just got it in the mail the other day. You had
Nope,
it on our
nope,
episode the other.
nope.
Oh, really?
What do you think it was, though? What do you think it was?
Black Monday Murders.
Nope.
Oh.
Okay. So, I'm moving my camera around because
Okay.
right now, if I pick it up, I'm going to disturb my cat.
Oh
So
no, you cannot disturb the cat.
Monstrous.
You cannot disturb. Oh my God, she's so beautiful.
it's a him. This is Luna.
Oh, it's a him.
It's a
oh, sorry.
him's. He is beautiful.
Immediately
so
heard Luna,
Deaf.
and I assume it was a boy. I'm sorry.
and he's
Girl.
deaf, so he
I mean,
can't
girl.
hear you.
Oh,
Monstrous.
Poor
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Monstrous.
All right. I'm
We're all
down.
gonna read it together. Luna,
Nice.
I'll make sure that Luna's on the episode. So yeah, Monstrous Volume 1 is my pick for the next.
That's an interesting issue book
Nice.
because that taps into a little bit of manga, a little bit of anime.
Mhm.
Really? I haven't read it. I have it here. I haven't read it. My wife read it before me.
Oh,
Also-
so she can be on the episode too.
This will be another interesting because there is a lack of Asian diversity in comics.
For sure. Character, I think that when we think about because the without like giving too much away, Monstrous is like there's a little bit of like magic, there's a little bit of like science and
Sword and
just-
sorcery, a little bit.
Yeah. So it's a
Look,
really
bit of
I think that
kaiju.
it's a real it's a really fun read. So I'm excited for you to read it. And
Wait,
Yeah.
there are kaijus in this book?
There are fucking big monsters in it.
yeah,
Oh,
and there's a
Well,
talking cat.
nobody
Yes.
told me about a talking cat or
Yep.
a kaiju in this
Mhm.
book.
Yep.
And Sana Takeda's art is just
Yeah, I know the art is really beautiful. I know the art is really beautiful.
oh man,
I'm
Sana
excited.
Takeda's covers are great, but I was not expecting this. I totally had my wheelhouse. I was like, okay, she's gonna recommend Pretty Deadly.
Ah,
You know, I was thinking, I was like, okay, if I don't do like Bitch Planet, maybe I'll. But I
read Pretty
think
Deadly.
that so many good titles, and you know, once again, maybe that'll be like another episode. But I thought that Monstrous would be a really good read, and it's like a little bit of the volume 1's a little bit thick, so it'll be fun.
I could talk a lot about Emma Rios' art on Pretty Deadly.
Oh, I love Pretty Deadly. That first trade of Pretty Deadly, I bought it on a whim. I was like, this is I'm not gonna take it.
I bought it
And-
just because Bleeding Cool had an article about a comic shop ripping up copies of it because they hated Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Oh my God. You see, okay, so going back to what I was saying earlier about reading into things a little bit too much, it's okay to read into things, you know, because you want to know a little bit more, understand and learn a little bit more what this writer is trying to say and try to understand his message a little bit better. But I feel like these people are reading into this thing a little bit too much into these things for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
And that's when I say, that's what I mean when I say that reading too much into certain things. And I feel like it's okay to read into things, like you said, you like to read into things a little bit more than that, but you have a reason to do it, that it's not just to be a bitch about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like this is what these dudes are doing, are just being bitches about it. So I guess I just
think
want a
it's-
bunch of new enemies.
It's the internet mob mentality,
And
especially on Twitter.
being able to hide behind being anonymous. For sure.
Oh yeah, I think that's just
And look, I'm saying this as
Coward.
someone who Tom King blocked. I'm 100% not kidding. He blocked me. He blocked a bunch of my friends too.
Damn.
Yeah, there's a whole.
So I'll
block.
make sure to tweet out to him.
He blocked everybody I actually was friends with.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess I'm blocked too. Damn it.
Depends on what account. It's only one account that's blocked. I looked.
Okay. Stalker.
My YouTube channel's not blocked. That's fairly newer. My personal account is 100% blocked because I can't see his posts.
That's what you get.
My other cat wants to say hello.
Oh, you have another cat?
This is Malcolm. He's my
Malcolm.
old boy.
Oh. So Malcolm and Luna.
Oh, don't talk
Yeah.
about Old Boy. I don't need to hear about that. Oh,
I love Old Boy is one of my favorite movies.
oh no,
Boy.
the remake with Josh Brolin really fucked me up when I was like,
Oh.
Thanos is tagging Scarlet Witch. This is awkward.
That was a little bit awkward, but that's one of my favorite. The original is one of my favorite movies. So
I'll fucking go right into
that's
this.
Thanos.
Have you seen Audition?
yeah,
Oh, what a fucking movie!
Yeah.
it's so funny because it's been like when Old Boy came out is like when I watched that, and it's on Shudder, and I keep seeing it pop up, so I need to watch it again.
Every fucking creepy guy should watch that movie and Hard Candy and fucking learn a
Ooh.
lesson.
And learn a lesson.
Hard Candy. Ooh.
Oh, audition. This dude's like, I'm going to have an audition for these girls to come in. I'm going to choose my next wife.
What?
This is like, that's, I don't know. To me, that plot is just an entire subcategory on Pornhub. Is just like.
So
Isn't that the premise of The Bachelor? He auditions people to see which one he marries.
So he finds this girl, she drugs him, and then starts taking pieces of him off. Like she put a needle in his fucking eye. Like it's a torture movie, but this girl's like crazy.
I mean, you could
Super
say
cray-cray.
you could say that The Bachelor feels like a needle in the eye.
Yeah. Anyone who's on The Bachelor is crazy anyways, so.
Yes.
And then Hard Candy was fucking woo.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
I didn't see Hard Candy. A friend of mine saw it and said, "So this is what this movie's about." I said, "I am not ready for that."
Any
You're
guy
ready for it now. You're ready.
Any guy with creepy intention
yeah.
should watch it.
Yeah. And I feel, and then I just forgot about it until now that you guys mentioned it. Forgot about that movie.
Night Owl gets neutered.
Spoiler alert.
Just a little bit.
Well, she's like, well, my dad's a vet, so I think I know what I'm doing.
Think I know what a snip.
Like literally, it's Ellen Page, and it's all because
that's right. That's
her friend got molested by some dude she met on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
so she was taking revenge. And Patrick Wilson tries to pick her up. She drugs him, and then tells him what he's doing is real fucked up. And he wakes up. She's like, I hope you're not feeling this. My dad's a vet. I totally know what I'm doing. And she is neutering him.
Oh, you see, I can relate to that. I can it's like, okay, so this happened, so I'm just gonna take revenge. It's revenge. You see, that's what Batman did. Revenge on the criminal, the coward, the superstitious and cowardly lot.
I'm sorry that this became a random episode on top of everything else.
They're all random episodes at this point. That's the theme of this show now.
Yeah,
but we all like Redeemable.
Yeah. No hot takes.
Oh, Cinia. Oh boy.
Nice.
I can't wait for her Dune episode.
Cinia, you like anything? Is there anything that you like?
She now has come out against Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh no, she didn't. She didn't came out against it. I saw the post. It was more like, it's not what I thought it was going to be. You know, the hype was too much. The hype was too much. That's why I'm afraid of reading it. I have to read it. I've been wanting to read that book for a while.
I loved it.
Yeah, I have to check it. I legit will have to check it out.
And go on Amazon Prime Instant and watch The Lighthouse. Jen had some feelings.
Is that why you guys are talking about this dude masturbating?
Yes.
Yes.
Batman. The new Batman's masturbating angrily.
I feel like, to be honest,
to a mermaid,
but I feel like that's not what the movie's about, and it's like, but it is to me in my eyes.
Okay, so
your brand.
It's better than that. It's better. I don't know, but to me that's literally like the climax.
What broke me is you guys say it was a comedy.
In your head canon, the movie is about this dude masturbating fiercely to a mermaid.
It's basically softcore porn. Like if Quentin Tarantino was going to make a softcore porn, this would be it.
Okay, who directed this movie?
I can't recall his name.
The guy who did The Witch, David Eggers.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen The Witch either.
Oh my god. Fucking watch
another
Witch.
Like slow burn type of movie.
If you like Satanic and Sabrina, it's right up. It's the girl who plays Magic in the New Mutants movie that's never going to come out.
Why?
Also, she was in Glass and Split. She was the girl.
Yeah. The girl that has a weird, not weird eyes, but like she has a very specific look, you know. Yeah. And I see her, and I know who she is just by seeing her, because that's
the weird wigger personality.
All I see is her eyes.
You cheating on me, yo?
What?
James McAvoy in Split.
Yeah. I remember now.
He is fucking magic in Glass. Yeah. Like, honestly, he deserved an award for that movie.
He's magic in everything.
All improv.
Yeah.
So.
All improv. That was not scripted.
What?
Yes.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he came up with all the personalities himself.
Wow.
That's fucking bad.
Slow
Oh,
clap
that's the
there.
fridge behind me. No, yeah, I did not know that. I did not
The
know
interpretive dance that is up there with Buffalo Bill from
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs is like.
Goodbye, horses. Sorry, that's one of my favorite songs.
I gotta get the robe and give it just there.
Okay.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me so hard.
Wow.
I feel like we've capped out the weirdness.
No, every time I see that, I remember. Every time someone talks about that scene, all I can remember is the scene in Little Nicky when they make a spoof of that.
Oh, I was gonna say Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh,
like,
that
ooh.
too. Oh, I just saw Jay and Silent Bob reboot the other day.
I didn't watch that yet. I thought it was Strike Back, but
I
gotta watch reboot.
It's pretty cool. It's legit almost the same movie before with some jokes. At first I was like, this is lame, but by the end I was like, you know what? This is very enjoyable.
I just brought Red State to our random episode yesterday.
You just what?
Brought Red State by Kevin Smith to our random episode yesterday.
Oh my god, that movie.
Like how unlike everything else.
Listen, that movie. Yeah, now you can see my expression because I have no hair in my face. But I remember a friend of mine recommended me to watch Red State, and I didn't know it was a Kevin Smith movie. And when I was done with the movie, I texted him. He was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" And he said, "All right, you finished it?" Yeah. He said it was directed by Kevin Smith. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, what? It's like not expected. Which
I
proves that he's a better director than people gave him credit for.
I feel like going into that movie, not knowing that it's Kevin Smith, like you enjoy it in a different way because then, like I go into any Kevin Smith movie expecting, like I know we kind of talked about yesterday, like Clerks and like that type of humor. So going into Red State, not knowing that it's Kevin Smith.
How dark it was.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why, oh my God, who's that dude in the screen? Oh, that's me. It's like that's why what was it? Jersey Girl was the movie that he did with Jersey Girl.
Yeah,
is that the one with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck?
She dies right at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like nah. Why? It's like, dude, why? This is not what I wanted to see. This is not even.
since you haven't been around, I got to ask you: did you read the article about what DC's doing with their distribution Gambit?
I haven't read the article, but I read the headline that they were going to use someone else to distribute their books now. What's up with that?
They're using Midtown Comics and DCBS, which they hid the fact that it was competitors of these comic shops. It's interesting that they're doing it this way. I just don't know if it's right using a competitor to these comic shops to distribute comics to them.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean a competitor? It's two comic book stores.
So Midtown Comics in
New
York,
know Midtown,
and then BC is in California, right? And so basically, or is it Colorado? I forget.
They're somewhere in that Southwest.
Yeah, so they're basically going to be doing the like distributing to like so some stores got assigned to one, some stores got assigned to others, but like your local comic book shop in that area is like a direct competitor with those because they're actual comic book shops. And
yeah.
I guess I don't know if just logistically it makes sense, but then it just feels like those shops are now just going to have an even more advantage because of this.
And they have to get your information to be able to distribute to you. And on top of that, they hid the fact that it was these two companies. They made shell names for these distributions, which after people found out that Midtown owned one of them and DCBS owned the other one, it caused a lot of problems.
I understand how that can be a problem, and I understand how that can lend itself to be a shit show later on. But I feel like it's the right step into moving into a different way of doing things, because let's be honest, Diamond has this market monopolized, and if nothing happens if it's not through Diamond, and look at look now, Diamond
And
is nowhere to be found. You know what I mean?
even if what could end up happening if these corporations or shell companies, whatever, end up being new like distributors that end up becoming monopolies, like say, like I don't think it'll happen, but like say Marvel ends up trying to use these companies,
Not
or
again.
like Boom or Image or IDW ends up starting to distribute through these other companies as well. Like, could they, I don't know, I think that right now competition is the last thing that we need in the comic book market, like to some extent, but
It
I
needs
don't
to
know.
heal first
It
before.
needs to heal first, exactly.
Well,
Like, I think that it's a good thing because it'll break up the monopoly of Diamond. Like, hands down, that's a good thing. But I think that it undercuts all the other publishers.
all right. So all this that's happening right now with all this cancellation of all these shows, I've been saying this for a few years now with some friends. This pop culture industry, this bubble, it's about to burst, and it's gonna burst now, and it's going to crumble. And it's probably not gonna burst because it didn't get actually to bursting point, but close to it. But what's gonna happen now? It's like it's crumbling. What we're going to see, what I feel that what I think we're going to see in the next few next few years, it's change on how things are done, and I think DC is doing it. This is the first step on doing something different and changing certain things, because the reality is that things need to change. We've been doing the same things for years, the same
Yeah.
way over and over and over and over, and that's cool, but things need to change. Competition, healthy competition is good. It can, like I said, this can lend itself to be a problem. It can be a problem, but I feel like right now it won't be, because we're mostly all of us in the same page. But at the same time, um, I think that all these canceling shows, all these things that are, when I say shows, I mean conventions and all these
Yeah.
things dying out and all that. What it's going to do is that it's going, and this is going to happen in every industry. It's going to weed out all the things that are not self-sufficient, or that are not enough to support themselves, that they're only being supported because they're riding a wave right now, not
Yeah.
because they are actually, like, there are stores that are still still open and working, not because they can sustain themselves, but because they've been riding this wave of popularity for so long, that's what keeping them afloat. Same with conventions. There's so many conventions now. So many, every weekend there was a convention
Yeah.
somewhere. So there was going to be a convention, and the problem with that is that, for example, if you're someone that goes to various shows, you 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 not everyone is going to, if you're someone who goes to every convention, you're not going to buy something at every convention, and this is going to, what this is going to do is, it's same principle. It's going to take all these smaller shows that legit are just shit shows, and these shows that are run by shitty people, and people who are just literally just riding this wave of popularity, and they're just gonna crumble because they don't have enough to sustain, to keep it, to keep working. It's this, and we're going to see a change. We already started seeing that
The
change. DC
European
is doing
market's
this
going to
thing.
see the suffering from this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
Because they're not going to
definitely.
get anything. I mean, unless they end up paying like
30
incredible
times
rates.
shipping.
Yeah.
We
To
have
your
a
point.
user, a viewer who lives in Europe, who Alterna Comics has left Diamond completely, and he's like, I'm not paying for a dollar comic 30 times shipping.
Yeah. Gambit, to your point about conventions and shows, it's so it's disheartening to go to these like local shows that aren't put on very well, that don't put a lot of thought into their shows. And for a lot of people who go to these conventions, they're like, I'm going to go to this Comic Con, but
The
really
cosplay and celebrities.
it's and not even that, it's like it's put up in like a shitty hotel, and half the vendors there are like, redo your bathroom or energy drink, and it's not even and it's not people who are actually in the comic
Mhm.
book industry, or it's people who are ripping off artists that are just printing
Yes.
out another artist prints and
But
then
they're getting
selling
exposure.
them. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So-
So then for people who like go to these small shows, still end up paying $20-$30 a ticket to go in, they go into a shitty show and that's their like first version of Comic-Con, and
Mhm.
then like to me that just it muddies the industry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I and one thing that I hope that this does do, because so many shows have been canceled, I really hope that it treats its artist alley vendors better. Like maybe over the next year, a lot of these places need to vet their artist better, need to have stricter rules. And in that, I think that there needs to be a compromise, and they need to take away artist fees. Like there should be no fee for artist alley.
That's great. I support that. I support that. And
Vote for
and,
Jennifer 2020. No, I'm just
What are they gonna do?
So-
Take a cut of what you make though? Like they're gonna want their piece.
No,
No,
they
no, no.
already get that by
No.
charging, like especially places like MegaCon, where it's like $200-$300 to have an artist alley. Like seriously though, like
I know.
Artist alley has like, you know, they charge you $200-$300 to have a booth, and it does, you pay the same amount whether you're in a prime spot or whether you're near the fucking bathroom, and they charge people $70-$80 a piece to get in. Like after that, you don't have enough money to buy things from people. So especially like artists are hurting so bad right now because of this. Over the next year, I think every single convention should not charge artist alley, but have stricter rules to get in as well.
I agree. And I also think that this is going to weed out a lot of all these people that just print things from the internet and sell them as their own on these conventions. It has been a little bit better. I honestly, the conventions that I've gone to, it has been a little bit better with the stolen art. You know, they're a little bit more aware of that. But I feel like this whole situation, because these people, since they can't produce anything new, it's like legit. It's just gonna just weed out these bad things. We're still going to have a few of them out there, because there's always going to be a few of them out there. But I feel like, I think that's a good way of doing things. You know, check these artists a little bit more before you accept their money and their application. You know, and let's check this out a little bit. And if someone raises a red flag over a guest that slipped through the cracks, hey, that dude's selling fake art. Check on it immediately. You know,
there are some conventions that do a little bit better than others. Like I don't.
E2 and San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel and DC actually have people paid to go around to booths and look at what they've got, and they will cite them on the spot.
But those are big companies, you know. Those they can afford to do these conventions, because those are big conventions, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, let's send these people out there. But there's legit a convention every weekend somewhere in the States.
So we're borderline 2 hours.
Yes.
So
I have to eat.
So my quick question: bigger seismic shift, comic industry or movie industry after Corona?
Yes.
I would say that which one's going to have the bigger shift?
Yes.
I think that, like, if you take a look at size, the movie industry will. But I think if you think about proportion, the comic book print industry, like, is affected harder.
I want to know the numbers of people renting movies that should be in the cinema right now versus, I think smaller movies might start shifting more to that market of on demand.
Yeah.
All that this is doing is pushing people to, everything's going to change, and one of the things that is going to change is that people are not going to leave their fucking house.
Yeah.
You know,
and
there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, I think people in general are gonna go out to the movies fewer times, unless they make specific changes, or if maybe they do like limited seating views, or if they just make tickets cheaper or offer deals on their like their food and beverages at the theater, then maybe I'll go more often if it's incentivized.
I expect horror movies and smaller movies like that, they're going to be pushed out of the theaters altogether.
I feel so too. I feel like low budget movies and low budget movies are going straight, what we used to call straight to video, you know. But now there's going to be the shitty straight to video or the good straight to video, because you still have
But I
this
think
big.
that'll be a
Mhm.
good thing in some
Oh yeah.
respect if us as consumers, we need to be better consumers, and we need to pay for our art. And if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's that there are creators and there are artists behind everything that we've been watching. Like
Oh yeah.
if you've been stuck in the house and you're binging a show on Netflix, there's 100,000 creators behind what you just watched. If you're sitting there and you're listening to music, there's creators behind it. So I think that we need to make sure that we're actually paying for the art that we're consuming, and that creators are still getting paid.
Yeah, that is something that we don't actually think about. We go pay for a ticket movie, for a book or something like that, and some of these artists don't even get recognized for their contribution. It's just I feel like there's a shift happening, and we're starting to see in the comic book industry, we're starting to see it with DC doing this with this right now. This is like the what they could do right this moment. Okay, let's do something fast so that we can get our product out, which is okay. I totally understand, limited as it is, or whatever. They're doing something to keep, production people working, and all that. And eventually it'll shift, it'll change again. It'll be another change. It's going to be okay. So we did it this way. Now we're probably going to do it this other way that's completely different to what we've been doing. The industry needs it. The format needs to change too. I feel like monthly issues are a thing of the past. I think that monthly issues, I honestly don't think that we need fucking 52 DC comics a month, or 95 Marvel books a month, plus the books that Image puts out, plus
5
the Dark
X-Men
Horse.
books, 4 Spider-Man books.
It's
diluting
like,
the property.
Dude, and oversaturating. You go to a store and you feel immediately overwhelmed by all the colors, like,
You
oh
get
my
that,
God, it's a lot.
You get what's called analysis paralysis, and it's a thing is where like you take a look at all of these like product offerings, and then you're like, which one should I get? And you ultimately shut down because you're like, well, I'm not going to buy any of them because I'm so overwhelmed. And I'm 100% guilty of that, thinking about DC and Marvel. I'm just like, there's too many fucking Batman titles. I'm just not going to buy any unless there's a trade that I want.
Exactly. That's what I did. I shifted to buying trade paperbacks, and I was buying all the X-Men stuff now because I've been enjoying it. But I think I'm gonna stop and just start doing the trades when the trades come out. Because right now it's like it's just everything's changing, and I feel like I said earlier, the format needs to change.
There will be some creators and some, like, I'll still pick up almost every single like Image like #1 that comes out, and some of them I'll pick up #2, and like there are some creators that I'll pick up no matter what. But
Warren Ellis, Grant Morrison. If Alan Moore comes out with a book, I will always check out at least the first.
Right.
Mark Miller. I'm always curious about what the fuck he's up to. I even picked up that Santa Claus book he did. Oh no, that was Grant Morrison who did the Claus.
That was Morrison. Yeah.
I
got a book from Miller that's called The Prodigy or something that I didn't even know was.
I read that. It was decent. I kind of liked it. So we need to wrap up because it's 2 hours and 3 minutes.
It's been long 2 hours, you guys.
Went too fast.
Yeah.
Did.
It was great having everybody back together.
Yes.
We got to schedule my tattoo once you're reopened.
Yeah. You're the first one. You're the only deposit I have.
Well, you don't really have a deposit yet. Well, I guess I got the gift card, so I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's already that's done.
They sent me the bonus, the 100 today. So.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
So it'll be Blade the Immortal.
Yes.
You can catch us on Wednesdays doing our not new comic reviews because we don't have any. So it's just random.
Basically the same thing we're doing now.
Yeah, basically
100%.
And next month we will be back with Monstrous, yes, that's I forgot already.
Monstrous.
And there's cats. They talk. Some have eye patches. So I'm totally down for that. I love to talk about Marjorie Liu and Son Takeda, so I'm 100% down for that. And then it'll be my pick after that.
Yes.
Be interesting. And if you like our content, comment, like, subscribe.
Subscribe wherever it is on the like.
Just find it. You'll find it.
Somewhere down here.
Check out Gambit's website if you want a commission. We've talked about the prices and everything. And if you check out Jen's Instagram, you will see her DM picture. And right there. We like to have Gambit busy. A busy Gambit's a good Gambit.
A busy Gambit is a good Gambit. It's a happy Gambit.
And you can find me at comic_chop_news on Instagram or at Chop Comic on Twitter. You can find Gambit at Gambits Inc. everywhere. And you can find Jennifer at Jen and Comics on Instagram or Jen and Comics Show on Twitter, which you'll never see anything from.
Yeah, because it's me retweeting.
And our frequent guest at Sydney Reads, because especially on Twitter, she rants a lot. So you might want to argue with her, or you'll see weird Animal Crossing stuff constantly. What a wonderful person she is, though. One of my favorites. And at D Comic Queen on Instagram, her collection will shame yours.
For sure.
If you're one of those dudes that think your collection's great and you're going to try and gatekeep, she will fuck your world up. Fuck your world up. Okay. Saying, ooh, Hillbilly. I forgot about that book. Not a huge Eric Powell fan.
Gambit, you just need to be on our Wednesday shows.
Yes, right? I'll promise I'll be on this next one.
I will admit, I will also recommend, since you showed that, Dead Rabbit by John McCrae and Jerry Duggan. Awesome. It used to be called Dead Eyes.
Dead Eyes. Okay. All right, guys.
All right, we're done.
Saying goodbye to
Darby
now.
So long, farewell. Bye.